Sometimes my job is hard here because sometimes this guy puts out videos that have so many unbelievably ridiculous things in the videos that I have a hard time selecting what to even talk about. I've done many videos in the past where I just never even used them because there were just so many of them. I'm like, hey, I can't just continue this. I'm overstating the point, but here we've had a length of time where we've seen failure after failure throughout May and now into June. We just had a June 15th failure date last week by Return of the King guy, and other people talked a lot about early June and mid June, and now June 20th. And of course, we had the May 14th failure again. So I thought it was time to visit this again and just let Barry talk, and let's listen to him talk today, and then let's listen to him talk a couple of years ago, and even like 5-6 years ago, and let's compare. Let's try to understand who this guy really is. Okay, this guy is only doing this for entertainment purposes. He is not doing this to reach people for the gospel. If he was, he would start his videos with the gospel at least, and he never does that. He always sticks it into the middle and tags it at the end. He makes people sit through an hour of his big mouth yammering before he gets to the gospel message. And I'm like, hey, Barry, what if somebody's watching this an hour before the rapture and they never hear the gospel because of your big mouth and you never give it to them? If you're really all about the gospel, why aren't you putting that up front? He's really about himself. This is all about Barry and his ideas and his thoughts about this rapture thing and his little, turn of phrase things, his little entertainment things. This is all this is about. He doesn't care about anything but himself. In this video, if you can stand to listen to it, he even mocks and laughs at the idea that the stock market might just go to 10. He thinks that's a great thing if it would go to 10. I mean, there are people watching his videos that depend on the stock market for their retirement income, and he's laughing about it. Oh, this is hilarious, going to 10. I mean, the guy's a self-centered person, and it's just plain and obvious from listening. So listen to this guy basically defend himself and all of his buddies and cohorts that talk about the end times constantly and promise the end times and promise the rapture and go through various dates and time frames and then fail, and then listen to the way he tries to defend it. He now is going to just play it down. So this is a common way to do this. They fail over and over, and then they're like, well, so what? Who cares? Stop worrying so much about the dates. We don't care about dates.
The reason I refresh the mega signs is as we pass through the time frame of, June 1st, a lot of folks were looking at June 1st. Some folks were looking at June 5th. Some folks were looking at June 15th. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's
so
it's
what?
fine to look at these time frames. Okay.
Wait.
But I do
Wait.
know-
No. June 15th is not a time frame. It's a date. That is date setting. So he just admitted that he does the same thing because time frames are time frames. Date setting is date setting. I've always said this. If you tell us that we're in the last generation, that's setting a date because you're putting a time frame on it, because generations don't last forever. So it's perfectly okay. Hey, what's the big deal? What's the big deal?
And I do understand, and I get a little saddened, okay, that some people were talking about and using phrases like ironclad and sure thing and 99% and all that other stuff. I would just challenge friends and colleagues and any other even brothers and sisters. Let's shy away from that type of verbiage. Okay.
So it's okay for Barry to do it, though, because Barry in every video says, quote, how do we know the rapture is soon? How do we know the rapture is near? How do we know this? And when you use words like that, you're putting a definitive statement together. We know it. I mean, otherwise, what else do you mean? But see, he demonstrates the futility of what he has to do. Barry Scarbrough has to say that because that's what his audience demands. If Barry Scarborough comes on his show, his entertainment venue, and says, "Well, we think the rapture could be soon, maybe, possibly," it would be great if it was, wasn't it? That's not going to fly. His audience doesn't like that. They don't want to hear that, and he knows this. And he's like, "Okay, I'm willing to stick my neck out and say things like, we know the rapture is soon, and this is how we know." I'm willing to do that, and then when I fail, I guess I'm willing to say that I failed, and then just like, but it's okay, right, guys? Because it's worth it to him. But he's going to sit there and chastise people for saying things like 99% and ironclad and whatever. But I don't know. Back in 2017, during the Revelation 12 debacle, this is a month before he failed, and he's talking about it, and he's talking about how we know that this Revelation 12 sign means something. Ready?
Then put that together with all the things that are before you, brother and sister, and what is coming. What is coming? Well, I'll tell you one thing with total certainty, something big. Something big. Because we're human, we can, of course, be off. That's that 5%. But boy, I don't even know if it's really holding on to 5% that much at this time. The more these big-time ministers come against it, the more credence I think it holds.
Yeah, certainty. That he just used the word certainty. Something big is coming in the September 23rd Revelation 12 so-called sign, for certain. That's the word he used. And then he said, there's a 5% chance we could be wrong. I'm thinking that's probably less now. So 95% is okay. And using words like certain, that's okay, right, Barry? As long as you do it, it's okay, right? You can say whatever you want, right? Everybody else has to just watch themselves because, we're starting to dig ourselves into a hole, aren't we?
So I think it's really, really, really critical, high watch, up to 2024. And you guys are like, he's just moving the goalpost. He's moving the goalpost. Guys, I've thought about 2024 for a decade. I thought about 2020, 10 years before 2020. I mean, these are just things that I think about. These are things that I consider. I thought about, what are other numbers that I thought? I thought about 2022 in, 2000. I mean, these are just time frames that these, Little man. Egypt in America is the apex of the solar event. I heard that, which is really interesting as well, but it would be Little Egypt. But I think these are things that the Lord is giving us to help us understand, hey, this could be an X across America showing wrath.
What is that even? So utter silliness. First of all, these are things that the Lord is giving us that are saying, hey, this could be blah, 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 blah. The Lord doesn't speak to his people that way. He doesn't say things like, hey, Barry, I'm just going to give you something that could be something. Okay, just blurt it out on social media in front of 20,000 people. I don't care. You go ahead and use my name. Go ahead and use my name. I could be telling you this. I guess I could be. I don't know. It's all for fun anyway. And what's the deal? What's the deal with, I thought about 2024 10 years ago. I thought about it. I was thinking about it. What on earth? I don't even know where to start with that statement. It's so immature and silly, and it shows like severe arrogance. First of all, I'm not going to admit to you that I was wrong. I've been always thinking that. Even though I didn't say any of that, I've been thinking it. I didn't say it. Also like, well, I was thinking it. So it's actually totally legitimate since I thought about it. This guy actually thinks God lives inside of his head. And then whatever he happens to be thinking about, God uses as signs. He actually believes this. Utter arrogance. Hey, Bear, I'm going to use a word like you use. Unbelievable.
To the rapture. So today is Juneteenth and Father's Day. Today is the day that the slaves were notified in Texas that they were set free.
Right. So now listen to Barry further continue to act like, well, it really doesn't matter how many days we throw out there. Look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to throw out some days right now. Okay? How do you like them apples? I know I've been wrong all month. I was wrong in May. I was wrong in 2020. I was wrong in 2019. I don't care. Now I'll show you guys.
As a believer in Christ, the rapture will set us free from the bondage here on earth. Something to think.
That's not in the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible that says we need to be freed from our bondage on the planet.
Think about it. Today is Father's Day. Be a pretty good day for the rapture today, wouldn't it? I think so.
Okay.
Tomorrow is June 20th, a day that I think has some interest for us
Yeah.
to consider as a high watch
See.
frame. Again, we don't put our interest in a date. We put
Okay.
our interest, we
Wow.
focus on the
We
Lord Jesus
see.
Christ as our salvation, and we watch, we look.
Oh no.
We're
See,
of
it's no big
no,
deal.
it is no consequence if we're here on Wednesday, if
Nope.
we're here in 2023, if
Nope.
we're here summer of next year. It is of no consequence to us. We watch and we look.
Right.
We're
See.
excited.
See. Don't get mad at me if it when it fails or if it fails. Don't get mad at me. There's no consequence, man. Hey, man, your brother B, yo B, he's down with it. He don't care. He don't care, bro B. Side note: have you noticed he's trying to call himself? He's one of these guys who always wanted to have a nickname, and that nickname is B. So he calls himself that, hoping that it'll get picked up and people will just start calling him B. Yo B. So anyway, it reminds me of George on Seinfeld. He wanted to be called T-Bone. He'd always wanted the nickname T-Bone. I digress. But like notice the, you know, if it fails, then it's no consequence. We're just watching. Time frames, they don't matter. They don't matter. Who cares about time frame? We're not counting on a date. Hey Barry, I got a news flash. Your entire channel is built on time frames. That's the only reason you have a channel. That's the only thing you're about. If you cut out all of the time frames, if you cut out all the signs and speculations, you've got no channel. Again, the futility that these people get themselves mired in. They must continue to talk this way about signs of a signless event that could happen at any time, of high watch dates of an event that they say could happen at any time, of no more signs are necessary, but then 3 days later you make another video about signs. It's coming soon. It's coming now. It's coming near. It's tomorrow. It's next day. It could be this year. It could be before I finish this sentence. Nothing ever happens. But hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So back to this clip.
But it's very interesting that today is Juneteenth, a day that the slaves are freed, that today is Father's Day, that today is a day before. Tomorrow is 2,520 days, which is the Daniel number of days before May 14th of 2029, which would be the 81st year that Israel is in existence. Now, I want to speak to this. This is something that Bro Chooch and I were talking about, fig tree. I think very important to figure about the fig tree, because then people are ready to say, well, if it's not the Psalm 90 verse 10 years of the fig tree generation, then we're just not in the then it's just I just throw it all. It's just not correct. It's just not correct.
Yeah, because you guys defined it that way. See, they want to pretend like, well, we never made those rules. Why are you looking at Psalm 90 verse 10 as the rule we had to make about the length of a generation? Because you guys did. You guys made that rule up. That's not even in the Bible. There's nothing about a generation in Psalm 90. It talks about the length of a typical person's life. 70 or 80 years. That's how long we live, and then we're done. It's comparing the brevity of our life. If you read the whole chapter, it's comparing the brevity of people's lives to God and how He looks at 1,000 years as nothing. It's a watch in the night, it says, and so that's what that chapter's about. They've been twisting that chapter to mean something it doesn't mean for all these years. Now all of a sudden, well, no, that's not what it meant. That's not what it meant. It didn't mean that.
And no. And Murphy is correct.
No.
The fig tree is still in play for several reasons, and let me tell you why. And no, we're not just moving the goalpost.
Here he goes again.
So Bro Chooch had a wonderful video, which I
see. He knows he's moving the goalpost. That's why he said it multiple times in this video, and in other videos in the last month. He keeps saying that. He keeps bringing this up because he knows people are saying that about him. Because in his own heart, he knows he's doing that. So he's got to shoot it down so that, no, I'm not. See, self-centered people like this, okay? I'm not going to pin a psychological label on the guy. I could, but I'm not going to go there. Self-centered people like this, they literally feel like they have the ability to do something right in front of you, okay? Right in front of you, they're doing it, and deny that they're doing it. I'm not saying that this is all for sure, but we know it's going to happen. I absolutely think this is going to absolutely happen, but it's not. We could be wrong. And what he just did here, well, I'm not moving the goalposts, so now he's going to move the goalposts.
He says it much better than I do. The Bible uses numbers. The Eastern mind, the Middle Eastern mind, the Eastern mind, the mind of the Orient is very different than the Western mind. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Matter of fact, the Western mind sometimes can drive me crazy, and this is even a mind that I use and have used as an accountant in the past. We can be very exacting. We will use minds almost like an insurance actuary. So my dad used to be an insurance.
All right, so then I'm going to pause it. I'm not going to go through it because he goes into this whole actuary thing and goes off this rabbit hole. Basically, though, he's saying, look, numbers in the Bible are not exact sometimes. Sometimes they're just rough numbers. Even though they've been telling us for years that 70 to 80 years is the length of a generation, and that's it. And listen to this video from, just last year.
And then finally, we are at the end of the fig tree generation. Some people would say, and I would contend that potentially that is this May or even next May, that
This
time
May
is up. Psalm 90 verse 10 defines a generation as 70 to 80 years.
Time is up.
Add that to 1948 and back off 7 years for the tribulation, and we get to right now.
Right, see, time is up. At the end of this 70, 80 years, it's up. So, again, back to this point he's trying to make. Barry, if the Bible uses numbers that way, how come you didn't bring that up? How come you're bringing it up now, never brought it up before? What happened to this 4 or 5 years ago? Why didn't you say something like, well, we have a rough time frame of generation. It's not necessarily 70 to 80 years exactly. It could be more, could be less, whatever, but it's a rough time frame. So when we get to May 14th, don't freak out. He didn't even say that, because guess why? Because he had months and months and months to have a great time with this. And he didn't want to throw in the possibility that we could go past May 14th and be wrong and then disappoint people. See, his audience doesn't want to hear that. So, I mean, TOL, he did the same thing. Bro Chooch was like, well, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but if we get to May 14th, 2021, May 15th, 2021 with no rapture, I'm going to probably need to go into a mental hospital. Because he just couldn't see the possibility at all back then. Well, even if he saw the possibility, he didn't want to say that there's a possibility because that makes his audience mad. And this is all about pleasing their audience. Do you see what I'm saying? They're all about pleasing an audience. They're all about having a following. As others have said very eloquently, some of these people are people who, 10, 20 years ago, you couldn't get 2 or 3 people to listen to a word they said about anything. And now they've got this audience of tens of thousands who will listen to everything and defend them and get on their wall and talk to them like, with these adoration tones, like Barry and Bro Chooch got together for lunch and announced it on YouTube. Why? Well, because they wanted to delight their fans with like 2 superheroes of end times are having lunch together. I mean, goodness sake, it was like 2 celebrities. It's just these quasi little cheerleaders, popular cheerleaders in high school type guys. They live for this. They live for this. So I'll finish with this quote from him.
Don't sweat June 15 and other times, or June 5, or even this June. Even tomorrow or whatever.
Hang on. What did you say there, Barry? My date? Did you start to say my date and then realize you were taking ownership of something that you didn't want to?
Even this June, even tomorrow or whatever.
This,
don't sweat that
not mine.
stuff. Don't worry about it. They're intriguing. I think George made a pretty intriguing case for the 50th. I
Yeah, it's
love
just
Brother George.
it's just
He's a
fun.
good
Yeah,
brother in Christ.
yeah, yeah. It's just this
Until
is just intriguing. It's just fun. It's just interesting. What are you guys getting all up in arms for? It's not like I said that God Himself ordained me to tell you these dates and time for. Oh wait, yes I did. This is why this man's a liar. He claims in almost every video he is ordained by God to give you these messages about how close it is, to tell you his dreams and fantasies and thoughts. In the name of God, ordained by him to deliver these messages. It's a ministry. In fact, in one video, he even claims he's an elder. And you should listen to me because I'm an elder. I'm an older Christian than you. I have authority over you, he says. And then when it fails, now it's all about, well, geez, don't blame me. I was just talking. It's just interesting. You guys need to back off. Stop getting in our faces over this, okay? We're just hanging out, B. Yo, B, we're just hanging out and having fun. Yeah, right. You know what? Well, I'll leave it up to you guys to have discernment. I really hope we start to see these guys go away.